The word vengeance showed up this week. Hey,
Yes.
vengeful thoughts. And I was like, that word kind of did some stuff to me.
Ooh, what happened?
Well, it just like when I think of vengeance, I think of like getting back at people,
Yeah.
right? But and then the word attack is used, and I like attack better
Yeah.
because we attack with our words, with our thoughts, with our, with our energy and all of those things. And I could get behind that so much more than the word vengeance. Like it just sounds like, it makes me think of this really violent, horrible movie that I would never watch. The
Yeah.
Vengeance with Chris Rock. Like, or like or whatever his name is. Just that's what I think of.
Yeah. There is, yeah. And vengeance, there's something like where it feels like it really, like where it's something that like really takes a hold of you. Like that, like I feel like with anger, there feels like that there's like something you can let go, like eventually. Like
Yeah.
you might hold on to anger, but there's the option of letting it go. There's something
Yeah.
with
Vengeance is
vengeance
grudge.
where
Like
it feels like it's like holding onto your rib cage almost. Like it's like
yeah.
it's
And
it's
you're
got
gonna
its
feel that
grips.
until your deathbed.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that you're on this like quest
Do you
to
think
event.
do you feel like that there's a word that they should have used instead of that? Or do you think
I'd have to look. So it's lesson 22, and the words are what I see is a form of vengeance. And I like the word attack. What I see is a form of attack.
yeah.
And it just makes more sense to me. And that's okay. And they use the word attack several times in the description of the lesson,
Hmm.
right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, when I first read it, I'm like, really vengeance? And then reading on, like when I just glance at the description, I see attack, 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 attack all over
I,
the description.
I'm doing that one tomorrow and I'm very interested to see what comes up for me. So I guess like a little background information is um I have this neighbor, she's super intuitive, really, really lovely. But our relationship has gotten really heavy, really deep, really quick, but like has taken like a really negative turn. And I didn't realize how heavy that was weighing on me. And because this person like lives like right beside me, um, the the I never felt like I could process the feelings of it while I was at my house. And so on
Mhm.
Saturday, I was I'm doing some more training with with a life alignment. And so of course when you're on courses, people are practicing like you also need to stand in as bodies so people can practice on you and whatnot.
Yeah.
My poor friend who's practicing on me was always quite nervous about someone really losing it during a session. And I didn't realize what was gonna come up, and I could not stop bawling. And
Oh,
it wasn't just like crying, it was full on body shakes. Like it was a lot that came up.
yeah.
And yeah, poor guy like worked through it like a champ. It was secretly dying inside.
Secretly dying inside.
Um, me and him talked about it today, and I was like, I'm sorry about that. And he's like, no, no, like it was good that I got that in like a
There
practice.
was his contrast, right?
But yeah, like I needed it. I needed that cry. I needed to feel that and be allowed to feel that like extreme emotion with this topic. And I got so light after it. But all before that, like even that day, the, I what I've noticed is like with this relationship, I'm not saying that it's this person's fault, but what has shifted between now and then, before that, I was feeling like a failure on every angle of my life. I
Hmm.
was getting so depressed. I was like to the point where I forgot to pack my lunch for like work and like it made me cry. and it was just, it was ridiculous. Or like I'd miss the train, and if the next one comes in 10 minutes, it's not the end of the world. But it would make me cry because I'd be like, I'm such a failure. I can't even make it to the train on time. I can't even remember to pack my lunch. And so quickly after the session, I was so drained. I woke up the next morning, and I felt so light. And the feelings of me feeling like a failure, I don't feel like a failure anymore. I'm able to do my work, and like things aren't shifted. And it was like there was this block that was really like weighing on me that needed to go. So I'm curious what's going to come up with the word vengeance with in regards to this, because
Right.
essentially, like, I felt what came up in the healing session is I've been feeling very manipulated by this person, and that um yeah yeah manipulated would be the word. Like, there's not too much to add to that, but I've been feeling super manipulated. And it kind of brought up these feelings of like repetitive patterns that I had with like past roommates. And then there was like there was two repetitive patterns kind of happening at the same time with regards to this.
Oh,
And so it was like, yeah. Anyway,
big
a lot
then, right?
shift.
Yeah. And isn't okay, so that's such a beautiful example of a couple of things. One, when we don't learn the lesson, it comes back to us over and over and over again in different forms of different people and all sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
And it comes to those soul contracts that we've made with people, that contrast and clarity, and also that the need to move energy,
Yes.
right? Like having somebody hold space for you while you moved that energy in your crying, body shaking way.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so important to move the energy.
Oh my gosh, yes. And this is like a little tip out there for people. If you feel really unsatisfied with your meditations, or like energy's not shifting, go for a run or do some exercise, but get your body moving, and
Moving.
try to do it for at least like 15 minutes, but get things moving. Can we
Yeah.
swear? I don't know.
Yeah, we can. It's our podcast.
get get stuff moving. And by physically moving, you are actually shifting energy in your body. And then right after you work out, definitely do a little bit of a cool down, but sit and meditate. And
Mhm.
it's wild what kind of meditations you can have after some exercise.
Beautiful. I've never tried that. I definitely use movement to move energy. I started dancing more in the mornings
Yeah.
and following actually a program that just, and it's so the whole lighten up and have fun and move your body. Quit doing it stiff, like just lighten up and have fun with it. And she's got people just dancing in all different ways on the screen. And she's like, and do not be watching the screen. You shouldn't be watching me at all. Be dancing. But I've never tried meditating afterwards.
Ooh, give
Like,
it a go.
I'm going to give it a go because I feel so much better after dancing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it
Nice.
makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Um, Another tip we can share with people is, do you like to shake?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes literally it's just the wrist, like to flick stuff off. Yep.
Hmm. I'll even like, um, not that there's, I mean, London's pretty good for like green spaces, but sometimes you can't find it. But if I can even find like a tiny patch of grass, or like if I'm near a tree, sometimes I'll shake near there when I'm in the city. And let's say like, I don't know, the trains were really stressful, or like the transport was really stressful. I'll try to shake that off. And so I'm like the crazy person in the middle of the street, but I'll be by a tree and I'll just like go and like shake all over. And then I'll touch the tree because I feel like that might ground it a bit
Just,
more. Or like as I'm shaking, I really imagine whatever I'm shaking off. It doesn't matter what if I'm at home or somewhere else, but I always imagine what I'm shaking off is grounding, because I like to assume that it's going somewhere, not,
yeah.
yeah, it's not
Landing on
staying
somebody
there. Yeah.
else and doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or boomeranging and coming right back to you. That it's just dissipating
Ground's
and
getting it.
being grounded. And the universe knows how to do with it much better than we do, is what I always think. The universe knows how to
Absolutely.
take care of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love doing that too. And like, and we see animals do it, right? They pick up some energy that's uncomfortable or whatever, and they just shake. It was like, shake it off. Just shake it
Yeah.
off. Give it a little shake. It feels so good.
I I did not a YouTube. I did like a Instagram reel. This was like very early when I first got on Instagram for coaching, and I did a video where I was like shaking. But I was working from home at the time. I run another business, but basically my home office was just jammed. So there wasn't a whole lot of room to shake. And I was shaking so hard for this video that I like smashed my head on the table. And I just left it in because it was so funny. I was just like,
Perfect. My daughter sent me this video one time, and it was this woman, and she had just built this new garden beds, and she believed in dancing in the garden to bless it. And she's dancing in the garden. She'd accidentally kicked her chicken.
oh
She's got a little thing that says, "Oops, kick the chicken, sorry." It was so cute.
no.
She was just going. She was just going. You were just chatting just now. It reminded me of something. Now I can't remember. Oh, energy. So, and you mentioned Instagram. So I was on Instagram quickly this morning just to check something. Watched your video about having fun. That was really great. I loved that.
Thank you.
And I had a new follower, and I was like, oh, fantastic. And then I quickly checked to see, because then I like to look and see if there's somebody that's doing really great posts that I want to make sure to watch, and those sorts of things. And the posts were not anything I'd ever care to be involved in. And the description that this person put of themselves just gave me the ick all over. And I'm like, I'm not very good at Instagram. I'm like, how do I get rid of this? And I wasn't really sure how. And I went on to other things, and I went, no, I'm not going to let that sit there. I need to, I don't even know what the word is on Instagram when they no longer get to follow you.
Block.
That, just that simple of a word, just block them. I went in and scrolled and found this person and blocked it. And I just went, oh, that feels better. Like, I don't want any of that ick involved in my energy.
Yeah.
Not with me personally, not in my Instagram. No ick. Thank you very much.
Oh, people don't realize like how much digital, like everything carries energy. And so like even digital stuff carries energy and frequency. So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, if you go on for like social media and stuff like that, if you go on like the Instagram search page, or if someone's post comes up, you can also click on, you can either do like a long hold, or if you click on like the three dots in the corner, you can actually say like, I'm not interested in this. And so even if they're suggesting things to you, you can tell them like, I'm not interested in, I don't know,
thank you for that. So you
watching the
can
Kardashians
filter
or whatever it
what's
is.
coming up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we really want to be careful what it is that we're spending any of our energy on.
Yeah.
Yep. And it doesn't mean tucking our heads in the sand. It means being discerning. I love that word, discernment. Be very, really discerning about what it is that you're interacting with.
Yeah. And intentional. Like my favorite word is like the
I
intentional.
love
Yeah.
the word intentional. Yep.
Esther and Jerry Hicks and Abraham have a book that is, I think it's called something like living intentionally, or living with intent, something like that. And it's on my reading list for this year. Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, let me know how it goes. I met a woman years ago through my work, years and years ago, through my old work, like where I used to work. And she said to me, Jenny, you live the most intentional life of anybody I've ever met. And I'd never really heard the word used in that way before. And it was so interesting to me. And it really made me think about it. And just, yes, I do live as intentionally as I can. And it's something that I really bring into my quilting and into the quilt room with my clients and students, and just intentional. We want to lead an intentional life.
Yeah.
It feels
Absolutely.
better.
Oh, 100%.
It just feels better.
And it gives you so much, like, oftentimes I feel like people, especially when people are getting burnt out and stuff like that, they feel like that they're a bit out of control with their life.
Yeah.
When you start living your life with intention, you do feel like you gain control while still maintaining flow, while
And
still just,
freedom.
enjoying the party of life.
Yeah.
But yeah, having that intention gives you that sense of control and
Yeah.
intent.
Choice,
Yeah.
intent, right? Like that you have the power. It's bringing your power back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there an exercise? So Jenny and I meet roughly once every 2 weeks. So I guess it's every like 14 exercises. We meet. Was there an exercise from the last 14 days, or actually from the beginning, that has been your favorite so far?
There
Or
was one. Now I'm
was
just trying
significant?
to think.
I'll have a quick look through mine while like you're looking. There
Yeah.
was one that too that I think I messaged you about it, but
Yeah. And I think I have to look at our messages because there was one that came up that I messaged you about.
ooh, okay. So this is a very early one, lesson 6. I am
Okay.
upset because I see something that is not there. So
Oh, yeah.
this
Love that.
exercise came up very, like, really early, but probably like a week after this lesson. Um, my dad, like out of nowhere, got like raging angry at me and my partner.
Yeah.
And basically, I was driving, my dad called, and I was like, Matt, do you mind? Can you like I don't I missed my dad's call yesterday. Can you just tell him I'm driving and that I'll call him back this evening when we're home?
Hmm.
Matt picks up, says exactly that, but my dad misunderstood the whole conversation. It wasn't like we did anything wrong. It was just Matt said exactly what I said. My dad just completely misunderstood it. Went on a panic, blah, blah, blah. And it was that he was seeing things that were simply
We're,
just not there. And
yes.
because I did this exercise and did it from my point of view when I did the exercise, it was very interesting then a week later for this to come up and me be able to be like, oh, this is what's happening with my dad. I wasn't angry with him. Like, and I mean, it was amazing. I could have been like, what the fuck? And like,
Exactly.
yeah, the reaction went away. I was like, oh, he is panicked. Like, this is coming from a place of love. Yes, he has an overreaction right now, but it's
Yeah.
because he's seeing things that just simply do not exist.
And that was a miracle.
Absolutely.
And that's what A Course in Miracles says. It's as soon as we can reframe our thinking and come from love instead of fear, miracle.
We're cleaning up our thoughts.
We're cleaning up our thoughts, Chantel. Yeah, I love that. And I loved their use of the word upset
Yes. Yes.
because then you can read it. I just loved it. It felt super neutral and that you can feel as upset as you want to. It doesn't matter how, like, there's no level of the upset, is what they were talking about too. This little uncomfortable is just as important as being in a rage.
Oh, 100%. And um I mean, this is something I learned from my neighbor, but like also from this book, is that like, let's say, I don't know, someone's relative is in the hospital and they're really upset about that versus someone who's upset because they stubbed their toe. They're
Yeah,
both equally valid, and like both people can be still going through feelings.
yeah,
Um, it's not just, it's not like you should shut down your feelings just because you're like, oh, well, I only stubbed my toe. Like that person's going through a lot more than me. Your both feelings are completely valid. It's just different lessons.
exactly.
Yeah.
I used to work with a woman years and years and years ago, and it didn't matter what anybody ever shared.
Hmm.
Her next line was always, "Oh, that's nothing." And then she would share her story. Oh, she's not my favorite person in the world. Like it was just,
Competing over trauma.
oh, and it didn't matter if it was a good thing or a bad, like no matter what it was,
Hmm.
yours was nothing and hers was better or worse or tastier or more dramatic or whatever.
Yeah. I think I accidentally locked Matt out of the house. Just one second. I
Yeah,
think I have
you
the chain
go. Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, totally fine. The one that I messaged you about was lesson 16.
Okay.
I have no neutral thoughts. This thought about blank is not a neutral thought because I have no neutral thoughts. I loved that one so much.
Yeah.
And it builds on what you, just like we were saying, the lessons build on each other, right? And what did my little note say? Every thought you have contributes to either truth or illusion. Because I think it was something that Marianne Williamson said. Those aren't my words.
Yeah.
Either it extends the truth or it multiplies the illusion. And every thought brings either peace or love or fear. That just, yeah. And that whole, that what you wish for, that what you wish for others, you wish upon yourself was one of the lines.
That thought always scares me a wee bit.
In what way?
Not that I like wish bad things for people or anything like that. But you know how like I don't know, like I think it's easier to think like with siblings. Like sometimes like with my sister, I'm just like, you know, and a thought will come up and I'm like, do I wish that for myself?
Family.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
The best
Family.
lessons.
Yes, they are. Yeah. So yeah, I did. I loved that one.
Yeah. That is a really good one.
And then lesson 17 builds on it, right? I see no neutral things because I have no neutral thoughts.
Yeah. And
And
that's just it, is like it's just a simple little change
just
now.
simple little change. And then just to recognize something that I observe in my family. There's people in my family who they think that their way is like the only way to do things and the right way to do things, and everybody else is wrong or weird.
Yeah.
Those are the two options. And just that there are thousands of ways to do or see any one thing. Just because somebody's doing it differently than you do it, it does not make them wrong.
Yeah.
It makes them them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you love them, actually. Remember that. You love that person. Something my husband will say to me sometimes, I'll do something. He's like, you are such a girl. And I'll remind him, it's one of the things you love best about me.
That's so true.
Right? Those things that we can get judgy on, the people in
Yeah.
our lives, we actually love that person.
Oh, totally.
And so then why are we, giving them a hard time about how they think or do things?
Yeah. Like in our family, like sorry, the women in our family are very much like get up and go, like we are doers.
Yeah.
But that's also, we love that about each other, but that's also the thing that we hate about each other, right? And it has that, it's like the two-sided coin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't it that the things that trigger us so much in other people are the things that are inside of us that we don't really like about ourselves?
Oh, 100%.
Right? And that's not an easy mirror to look into. But the world is mirroring us, and the people that we intentionally have in our lives are mirroring us. And it's not always pretty.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
something I've learned just recently, it's called it's an exercise, and it's called I want to say it's called switch the polarity.
Okay.
And basically you like let's say you're having a tough time with someone. You then put yourself in their shoes, and to see like it through, to see the same situation through their eyes. So it helps you to switch the polarity, but you can also do it as like let's say you have someone who is, you feel like is just taking it, like is like it's a one-sided relationship, right? Like they're like taking and you're giving,
Yeah.
right? You can switch the polarity by being like, well, what do I want from this relationship?
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm just giving. So what is it that I want
What
to
I
take from it?
want.
Yeah.
Get clear on that.
Yeah. And
I
so
love that.
yeah, it's a really good one. And I just learned this one really recently. So I want to play around with that a lot to see the different ways you can swap the polarities of things.
Yeah. And do you know what I use that a lot, but do you know what I do is I use it like on my husband instead of back to myself,
Okay, so
right? In the whole, like, so having like a different point of view about something or those sorts of things. And like more in the realm of actions with each other, interactions with each other, and say to him, so if you put yourself in my shoes, what does that look like and feel like? And then he usually goes, oh, right. And I don't know if I'm great. I have no idea. I haven't, if I'm great at putting myself in the other,
yeah,
right? And so that's something to that for me to watch for an opportunity to do that,
yeah, yeah.
to put myself in the other person's. Oh, I did it. Just thinking of that, I did it the other day. I walked into a room that I'm sharing, a workspace that I'm sharing with other people, but I didn't know that somebody was going to be there. And just that interaction, and I realized I get really focused. I get really focused, and I'm at that doer, right? I'm like charging through, and I'm coming in, and I'm like, oh, you're in the room like right now. How much longer are you going to be in the room? And she's like, oh, about 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay. And I just started doing my stuff. And I'm like, wait a second. If the roles were reversed, would I want somebody when I was working in a room to just come in and start doing their stuff? And so I stopped, and I'm like, I just got to apologize. I'm so sorry. Like, I checked in with you about how much longer you're going to be here, but didn't check to see if it's okay if I come in and start setting up. So
Yeah.
my apologies to you. I've taken over space that you are already using. It's like, oh no, it's totally fine, which was fine. And maybe it wasn't fine. Maybe it did kind of get her ire up for a second. And whatever she did with that was hers. But just to, when we recognize that we have stepped that way, there's nothing wrong with going back. And that's something that I've never been good at, Chantal, is realizing a misstep, or right, and not going back. And I don't think it's ever too late to go back and connect with that person and just be like, hey, I'm really sorry that I da 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 da.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I do want to know, I do find that that's a difficult thing to do, because there is an aspect to it where I find a lot of people, I mean, myself included, there's a bit of like embarrassment of like the, oh,
Yeah,
now I need to admit my
am I
mistake.
wrong? Yeah,
Yeah. And it's like, is it better to admit it or is it better to ignore it? It's always better to admit it. Get it off your chest.
get it off
I
your chest.
there's one that I have to do so badly. Um, at my partner's Christmas party, my friend, who is also my hairdresser, came. Now she came later than I was there, but she cut my hair first thing in that morning. So my hair looked good for this night.
Yeah,
I got so many compliments on it. So when she came, instead of saying, "Oh, this is my friend," I was like, "Oh, yeah, and this is my hairdresser, blah blah." But it was because I was
because
talking about her earlier, but she wasn't there. She had no clue. And
yeah,
I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I just like reduce her down to just her job, like when she's much more than that to me." And
yeah,
so I'm waiting to see her to be like, because it's one of those things where like I tried to type it up to say it to her, and I was
yep,
like, it's not coming across right. Like, I feel like I need to see you face to face and actually talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and it was all by Christmas, so it's been a while
Right,
now.
yeah, right. That one little word. I know there's a situation in my family, and it was my mom and her really good friend, and her really good friend introduced my mom as her neighbor to somebody else.
Mhm.
And my mom never said anything to her about it, but seethed about it and was hurt by it for years. She probably still thinks about it.
Oh no.
And and she never clarified with her really good friend. But if that's how her really good friend talks to this other friend saying, she's my neighbor, remember my neighbor so and so, and I do all these things with her, like the other friend would have already known that they were really good friends, but this is how I've classified her in conversations we've had. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
my mom was devastated by the word neighbor.
Yeah.
And isn't it just an example of, but when you know in your heart that you're really good friends,
Yeah.
but it is true. Like we get hurt by these things.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like, and that's the other thing too is like I really hope if she was hurt by me saying that, I really hope she would say something. I mean, I'm definitely gonna say something to her. But like
Yeah.
your mom, like if she's hurt by that, to hold on to that for so long,
Yeah.
like it would be better just to say it and be like, hey man, like that kind of hurt my feelings. Like I know you didn't mean anything bad by it, but it still hurt.
It still hurt. And that goes back to, I think I've already said it before, like in the text, it talks about God wants teachers, not martyrs.
Yeah.
And that's a teaching moment. And it can be done gently. It doesn't need to be a yelling and screaming match.
Yeah. Because
Just
again, it goes back to the lesson we were just talking about with the I'm upset because I'm seeing things that aren't there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm seeing this hurt that it's just, yes, I'm hurt. There wasn't there wasn't the intent to hurt behind those words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
I think that's a beautiful place to end it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I look
thanks everyone.
forward to the next 14 lessons and to see what they bring. And the journey continues.